What happens when a doctor who's seen too much blood and chaos decides to make a movie about it? This is Mad Max, 26 weird things you haven't seen before. Before he ever yelled action, George Miller was a doctor saving lives in an emergency ward. Night after night, he saw bodies mangled by real car crashes. Those experiences became the lifeblood of Mad Max's brutal realism. He wanted audiences to feel the violence, not just see it. Every broken bone and screeching tire came from real memories. If you thought the medical precision made things neat and safe, think again. Mel Gibson wasn't auditioning, he was just a friend tagging along. After a bar fight left his face swollen and bruised, the casting crew told him to come back once he healed. When he did, they barely recognized him. He didn't look like a brawler anymore, he looked like a movie star. His accidental presence landed him the role of Max Rokitansky and turned him into a global icon. While Gibson stumbled into fame, the people behind the camera were fighting a different kind of battle. Miller didn't have an editing suite because the movie was literally cut together in his kitchen. Rolls of film were piled next to dirty dishes while his co-producer mixed sound in the living room. They called it cinema by chaos. The hum of the fridge was sometimes louder than the dialogue, but passion drowned out the flaws. Although the budget was tiny, Miller's determination was enormous. When cash ran out, beer took its place. Extras and crew members worked for crates of beer instead of wages. Some even performed dangerous stunts to earn a six-pack. The set was half production, and somehow that unfiltered energy made it to the screen. If you thought that was the strangest thing about production, wait until you hear where the props came from. The art team had no budget for set dressing, so they quietly borrowed some items from local shops. Road signs, tools, even food packaging, used them for filming, then snuck them back. The authentic look of Mad Max wasn't designed, it was stolen. But while the props were borrowed, the roads were definitely not. Mad Max was shot guerrilla style, no road permits, no traffic control. The crew would block a stretch of highway, shoot fast, and vanish before the cops arrived. Ironically, local police later began helping them shut down roads safely because they admired the movie's ambitious spirit. The movie's fearless approach behind the scenes set the tone for what came next on screen. Miller didn't want actors pretending to be outlaws. He hired real motorcycle club members. They drove their own bikes, wore their real gear, and sometimes refused direction. Some stayed in character off camera, intimidating townspeople. Their authenticity gave the film its gritty, unpredictable edge. While the actors brought chaos, the camera itself was falling apart. The crew couldn't afford new equipment, so they used old anamorphic lenses from Steve McQueen's The Getaway. Most were damaged, creating distorted edges and warped perspectives. Instead of ruining the look, those flaws gave Mad Max its trademark rawness. If the visuals were improvised, the editing was pure madness. Because reshoots were impossible, Miller had to work with whatever footage existed. That meant rough cuts, fast pacing, and jarring camera angles. Critics later called it hyperkinetic realism. In truth, it was exhaustion disguised as style. Although editing defined Mad Max, one cheap special effect became its creepiest hallmark. When Toe Cutter meets his end, his eyes bulge wide just before impact. It's a shocking image that still startles audiences today. The effect was brilliantly simple, a rubber mask fitted with spring-loaded fake eyes. Surprisingly, it became one of Mad Max's most haunting visuals. But if you thought that was cheap, wait till you hear what they destroyed next. That blue van crushed during a chase wasn't a prop, it was George Miller's father's real van. He offered it up because the team couldn't afford another vehicle. The family van went down in cinematic flames. But from that fiery wreck, Milk unexpectedly stole the spotlight in the next scene. When the crew needed dramatic liquid spills, they couldn't use paint as it would stain the roads. Their fix? Milk. It looked bright on camera and washed away clean. If you thought that was strange, the most powerful car in the movie was pure illusion. That monstrous engine poking through the hood of the Pursuit Special? Totally fake. It didn't boost horsepower, it didn't even connect to the engine, but it looked terrifying, and in Mad Max, appearance was everything. While the car wasn't real, its legacy was unstoppable. After shooting, Max's black car, Pursuit Special, was sold to a private owner. Years later, Miller tracked it down for Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior. It returned to screen, beaten, scarred, and iconic. Today it sits in a Florida museum, but not everyone behind the wheel got off easy. Rosie Bailey was cast as Max's wife before a real motorcycle crash ended her role. She was replaced by Joanne Samuel, whose heartbreak and tenderness grounded the chaos in humanity. But while one actor stepped out, a stuntman pushed through pain to stay in. Grant Page, the stunt coordinator, broke his leg before filming started. Instead of quitting, he performed anyway, using clever camera work to hide his cast. Every fall and tumble was real, executed with one working leg. If you thought that was wild, the next stunt redefined no safety limits. One of the film's most shocking crashes was performed at 180 kilometers an hour. No CGI, no stunt doubles, no second takes. Just raw precision and nerves of steel. Despite the risks, no major injuries occurred. Although the action thrilled audiences, not every country was ready for it. In New Zealand and Sweden, Mad Max was banned for extreme violence. Authorities said it blurred the line between fiction and real crime. Ironically, those bans turned it into underground gold. Fans passed around bootleg VHS tapes like Forbidden Treasure. But even when the movie crossed borders, its voice didn't. When Mad Max hit the US, the dialogue was redubbed by American voice actors who flattened every accent. Distributors feared audiences wouldn't understand Australians. The result? Mel Gibson didn't even sound like himself in his own breakout role. While the voices were changed, the movie's success didn't need translation. Made for around $400,000, Mad Max earned over $100 million globally. That record-breaking profit-to-cost ratio landed it in the Guinness Book of Records, and it stayed there for decades. If the profits were wild, the film's influence was even louder. Max's last name, Rokitansky, was borrowed from Australian pathologist Carl von Rokitansky, a pioneer of modern autopsies. It was Miller's subtle nod to his medical roots, hinting that Max 2 was dissecting a dying world. Although the symbolism ran deep, the film's global inspiration ran even deeper. Miller once wanted an American actor to attract US audiences, but couldn't afford one. Ironically, his chosen lead was American-born. Mel Gibson, the poster boy for Australian cinema, was born in Peekskill, New York. Fate had a sense of humor. If fate played a role in casting, luck carried through every explosion. After long shoots, the cast and crew, often drunk with the same locals who'd worked for beer, they'd sit around bonfires near set, sharing stories and cheap laughs. That chaotic brotherhood bonded the team and gave the movie its wild heart. While the beer kept them going, their chaos defined an entire genre. The jittery camera, strange colors, and gritty cuts all became the foundations of modern action filmmaking. Without knowing it, Mad Max rewrote cinematic language. Films like The Terminator and Fist of the North Star borrowed their post-apocalyptic DNA. If imitation is the highest form of flattery, then Mad Max was immortal. Mad Max wasn't meant to be a blockbuster, it was a gamble built on bruises, borrowed gear, and blind faith, yet it roared louder than anyone imagined. It proved that when creativity replaces cash and passion replaces comfort, magic happens. Share your thoughts about Mad Max below. Thank you for watching.